So that's 5 o'clock, but we're just going to hold another 10 minutes or so to make sure that we meet quorum as well. We're not quite sure what's happened. A lot of people seem to have got a message saying that council was cancelled. Hopefully that's not the case for the majority of people, and we can get this fixed ASAP. But if you know there's someone that thought it was cancelled or hasn't been invited, if you could forward the invite to them as well, that'd be great. Apparently it's saying to a few people that the option to join isn't available. I.e. they haven't got the permission to join. That was Daniel that messaged me that. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Did you see my? Yeah, sorry. Make sure that you are logged in on your Aberdeen account, and if there's anyone that you know that's struggling to get in, make sure that they are logged in Aberdeen account. And if you could spread the word to other councillors, there's been a bit of an issue with whatever's happened with this cancelled invite. It's not really anyone's fault, but I'm not sure what's happened there. But if you could sort of spread the word and send them the link that Ellie's popped in the chat, that would be great. Because we have about 5 minutes. You can just copy and paste the link and send it to people, and we can get going. A lot to cover this evening. Indeed, Ellie. Oh dear. The penultimate student council. Can't have that not going ahead. Not ever, I suppose, but for now. There is a May Council, yeah. Someone's message. Oh, yeah. So yeah, like I said before, if you forward that link to any other councillors that you know that should be here but aren't here because of some miscommunication down the line, we do still need a few more people to join. So it would be very handy if you did that. Copy and paste the link that Ellie popped in the chat and make sure that everyone is logged in on their ABDN email account. Oh, just to reiterate one more time, if you could just copy and paste the link in the chat, send it to any councillors that may not be here through miscommunication. That's 10 past now. We're just making sure that we've got. Just waiting to check the maths here. Oh, we do have quorum. Perfect. Is that confirmed? Or should I not have said that? I'm just repeating what you're saying in the chat. We have quorum. Brilliant. Okay, so sorry everyone for waiting. Welcome to April Student Council. Yes, we are. Sorry. Welcome to April Student Council. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm Matthew, the Student Council Chair. We'll just go through some housekeeping before we start. We're streaming live on YouTube, so make sure that any language we use is appropriate. And do not swear, which is mainly targeted at me. Ensure that your mic is muted and camera is off unless speaking. If you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function and then put your name and committee in the chat. Please only use the chat for documenting who is speaking. The chat will not be counted in discussion, with the exception of people wishing to speak, but their mic isn't working. Please do not mute the chair of Student Council as much as everyone might like to, including myself. Council documents can be found in the file section of the team group. Like I said, we are streaming live on Facebook. A reminder that all speeches must be directed at the chair and not at other councillors. And another quick reminder that voting is currently open in the standing committee elections. You can vote at ausa.org.uk, and I believe it's for all the roles that we currently reside in. I guess that's the wording. But that is all of the housekeeping. Doors to manual. Just some apologies this evening, though I have lost things. I was doing something else. Yana, one apology there. They will publish more if needed. And then we can move on to item 3 on the agenda. I think, although... Okay, yeah. So we will vote to approve the minutes of the last meeting. The approval minutes of the last meeting always takes place at the following meeting, where councillors will give their approval to an accurate record of the discussions at the last meeting. The vote requires a simple majority to pass, and I've been told that the votes for the minutes is 2 votes in 1 link as well. So you can vote now. The link is in the chat. And we're off. The voting link is in the chat. And we're voting to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Have we got the results for that one yet? Sorry, yeah, we are voting to approve or reject the minutes of the last meeting. Apologies, Cecilia. I was breaching impartiality there. So yeah, it was 2 votes in one there, one for the additional meeting, one for the last meeting, because we just have so many meetings. For the additional meeting, votes for 25, votes against 1 with 5 abstentions, and approval of the minutes from the last meeting, 34, 0 against, and 1 abstention. That's been updated 26-1-5, 31-0-1. Not quite sure why people have taken a dislike to the additional meeting. It wasn't my finest meeting, I admit, but never mind. Right, then we move on to policy updates, and we go for the first time this evening to Cecilia.
Thank you, Cecilia, student president. So sorry, Matt, can you mute? I'm getting quite a lot.
Yes.
Thank you. So the only policy update I have is for the graduation policy that passed last meeting, which has now been completed. It was fairly easy to do because we had already received that promise, but you should have received an email from the university either late last week or yesterday. Cannot quite remember when it was sent out. It's been stating the promise that you can, if you missed out on your graduation due to the pandemic, you can still attend one in the future once it is safe to do so. And that's it for me. Oh wait, I did also want to say that for next council, we are looking to bring you with a full complete status update for all the policies, like kind of a spreadsheet for people to look at, because there is quite a lot of policies that now, and I figure quite a lot of people might have lost track of which ones are completed and isn't. So keep your eyes out for that one.
Thanks, Cecilia. And then I know Andre's not here. That was another apology, Andre. So Louise.
From me, but I'll just say one that I did with Andre. We had an initial meeting with the university regarding the content warning policy.
Well, thank you. Is Radine here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, perfect. Your policy update. Sorry.
Yeah, so just a quick policy update in terms of the fair trade policy. So currently, I had a meeting about 2 or 3 weeks ago with the university in regards to the fair trade, because they're considering whether or not they're going to renew the fair trade accreditation, just because some of the rules have changed, and so depending on whether that happens will depend on we can decide whether we're going to continue as an institution as AUSA to be fair trade or not, or follow in line with the university. And also a slight update in terms of the fossil-free policy. So the fossil-free conversation is going to move to court in June and hopefully will be passed. So that's hopefully something that should be completed before the end of this academic year.
Okay, thanks, Radine. Yeah. Okay, and then we next go to the student partnership agreement update, and Cecilia.
Yes, thank you. So, Cecilia, student president. The student partnership agreement, so we're of course looking to approve this for next year. We'll be asking students to vote on what should be in the student partnership agreement, so there's more student involvement in it and like a proper student focus. This will ensure that we're working on exactly what people want us to work on, and it also ensure that new sabbaticals don't get landed with things that previous sabbaticals, sometimes from years back, have decided to work on. So hopefully it'll be a more involved process in the future. But beyond that, I don't really have an update, as quite a lot of work was accomplished start of this year.
Okay, thanks, Cecilia. Anyone got any questions on that, or are we okay to move on to the sabbatical officer accountability session?
Sorry, the other subs might have an SPA update.
Oh yeah, sorry. Any of the other SABs got an update on the student partnership agreement? You may raise your hand. Nope. Okay, I'll take that as a no for both of you, since Louise hasn't raised her hand. Thanks. Okay, so then we go on to the sabbatical officer accountability session, and Cecilia.
Thank you, Cecilia, student president. So the past month I've been working quite a lot with the Aberdeen Student Fund. We're currently in our 4th round of distributing money, and I think we're doing the last bit later this week, if I remember correct. There's quite a lot of money left, so we're hoping that the reason why we haven't had a lot of applicants or people haven't been applying for a lot is just because it's COVID and people haven't been in person. If not, we're just going to have to look at how we market that next year so we don't have to redo it 4 times. I've also been quite involved with the senior governor recruitment, and candidates for senior governor will be announced, I believe, tomorrow, so do keep an eye out for that. Students do get a vote in who will be the senior governor, and for those who are not aware, the senior governor is essentially the top dog of the university. They're the ones that the principal reports to, and they, in most cases, they chair court also. The rector has the option to do that, but quite a lot of places the senior governor chairs court. So it's really good that we vote for someone that we feel actually have their priorities aligned with students. So I do vote on that. I'm also working on the Student Association Awards, which applications will open soon, and I'm also looking to introduce a Green Award with that, according to my manifesto. And just as Matt mentioned at the start of the meeting, we've also been working on the Student Council elections. Voting has opened now, so please go do and vote before end of day on Thursday, and we'll be announcing the results on Friday.
Okay, thanks, Cecilia. Anyone got any questions for the student president at this time? Raise your hand now. Nope. Okay, we'll go to Louise then, and welfare for her accountability session.
So I've been working with the activities team with some of the well-being officer sessions that we've had. So if you don't know, we've created a group for students, part of student activity, that want to add a well-being officer part of their committee. So if you don't know about it, ask Kieran. So we had a good session regarding potential events that students wanted to run for for Mental Health Awareness Week, which will happen start of May. Also been involved with some of the press coverage after the trigger warning policy was accepted here. Also just answered a few press queries, had an initial chat with the university to look at how we will implement it. So they were very positive on the implementation of it in academic materials. And then I've been working on housing in terms of the university accommodation, which I'll talk a bit more at the end of the meeting, as well as working in collaboration with NESCO Student Association and RGU Union on more joint work to put pressure on purpose-built student accommodation around Aberdeen.
Okay, thanks, Louise. Any questions for Louise? Nope. Okay, thanks. We'll move on to Aberdeen then. Communities.
Yep. So some of the stuff I've done. So Stefan and I attended a seminar 2 weeks ago on air travel habits and sustainable travel for the SOS UK Green Impact Award. The next audit is next week, but we are signed on to the Green Impact Award for another year. Stefan has also been working on trying to get the Green Champions onto the enhanced transcript. And in terms of the North East Scotland Climate Action Network, to all of the students that have expressed their interest, Sue and Alison from NESCAN will hopefully be in touch. I have passed over their details, and if there is anyone else that's interested in taking part, please let me know. There's currently no representation of the university or AUSA in this. There's also been the Race Definitions Task and Finish group. So they've been discussing implementing definitions of race, racism, and anti-racism into the university structure so that it will streamline a lot of the complaints procedure and also dealing with racism on campus. I was invited to take part in the listening sessions with Janine Charmer and Ruth Taylor, but I wasn't able to do so. So Dr. Aravinda Guntapali, who's a lecturer in global health, is taking part instead. And I met with the ENE 2 weeks ago on Friday, and as a final thing, I've delegated a lot of my workload that I can't be taking forward to different staff members and other SABs. So if there is any matters relating to sustainability, and if there's stuff relating to the Liberation Forums, you can contact Ellie. And for student and representative matters, you can contact Cecilia. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean, and good luck with everything in the future as well. I'm sure you'll do great. Then we move on to committee. Sorry, has anyone got any questions for Dean as well? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to committee and fora update. Does any committee or fora, would they like to give an update on their work? You could raise your hand now if you would like to. Nope. Okay. That means we move on to motions, and the first motion is the graduation motion, which I believe is proposed by Daniel, although I have lost the thing. Yeah, Daniel.
So it's the referendum motion, not graduation. That was last time.
Oh, all right. No, it's graduation.
It was graduation, yeah, last time.
Well,
no, sorry, this time it's referendum. Last time it was graduation. They were both me, though.
Yeah, well, that's what's confusing me. It does say graduation on the agenda. Never mind. What agenda have I got then? Right.
I don't know. You might.
This isn't good. I'm in control. Don't worry. Daniel, whatever you're proposing, summarise it so I can learn too.
I shall. Okay. So I hope everybody can maybe see this. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm proposing a motion which is essentially toothless as it stands, but it will ask the trustees to change the constitution of AUSA, which the trustees have the power to do the constitution. The reason for the change in the constitution would be to change the turnout required for referenda to be valid, or rather change it as in the way it acts. So currently, referenda require 10% to be valid, but at current, nothing that AUSA does receives 10% of the student vote. You know, not even the sabbatical elections, which get a huge amount of higher percentage turnout than the referenda do. I don't know of any referenda in my time that has reached the 10% mark, and I've been here for at least a little while now. But yeah, so the point is that we're trying to make it so that the referenda will run requiring a 10% turnout on the first time, and if it fails to reach that mark, it will then drop to a 5% mark and run again until it reaches a percentage of turnout where an actual decision can be taken. Because currently we basically don't have a system for a referenda to actually work, because we know that any time that we run them, they're not going to meet the mark, and that doesn't look like it's going to change in any time. So this would mean that referenda, when they are called, will eventually reach some kind of decision rather than just consistently failing over and over again. So that's basically the essence of it. Cheers.
Thanks. Would anyone like to speak against this motion, or does anyone have any questions for Daniel? Cecilia.
Hi, Cecilia, student president. So I just one quick comment. I think this is the first referenda in many, many years, so we don't really have anything to compare to, but I see your point, Daniel. My question was just, so how long would this go on? So let's say first is 10%, doesn't reach 10%, so we drop it down to 5%, 5% doesn't get 5%, and then 2.5% doesn't get 2.5%, because I can imagine with every election, with every voting, you would get less people engaging. So I was just wondering, like, how far could this go on in which you drop the quorum in half each time.
Yeah, okay. Ultimately, this will be something that will have to be considered by the trustees when the constitutional change is made. However, I've kind of left it open to them to discuss it. And obviously, as I said, this motion is toothless, so they don't have to, even if we pass this here, the trustees do not have to pass it. It will be a decision of the trustees, and they can also decide how it is implemented. So with that said, I think it would be most logical, given the recent referendum of the NUS one, which admittedly actually received a poorer turnout than what even many people who were skeptical thought it was going to receive. I think that if a referendum ran at 10%, failed, dropped to 5%, and then still failed, a final referendum running to 2.5% seems like a last resort. So this could only run 3 times would be my recommendation, because anything below 2.5% would be, you don't want referendum running 5 times over anyway. But if there were to be an inclination and people were to know that eventually a referendum once a referendum is called, it will definitely end in a resolution being taken of some kind, it would push people to voting more, because it would make them feel like their vote would be more worthwhile, because they know that eventually this will result in something. So I think that running it 3 times would be the best option, if necessary. Matthew,
Come on. I know. I'm aware. There we are. Perfect. Sorry. Thank you. I'm unmuted now. There we are. I'm fine. Right. Any more questions or arguments against this motion? Cecilia.
Thanks, Mr. President. So I think I have an argument against it. I don't know if you want to do that now. But there's just a few things that I feel like I have to point out.
Yeah.
So the point of having referenda over and over again, I feel like that's kind of redundant, but also a massive waste of resources, because this could go on for quite a long time. A referendum takes quite a lot of time. We've already experienced this year where people get voting exhaustions. I don't see how it's feasible to have 3 referenda on the same topic in a row. The referenda failed because students didn't want it. It was not grassroots. It hadn't been called by any students, but it was required by our constitution. You can see that with the fact that we had more people voting in the SAB election than the referenda, and they were happening at the same time on the same web page. It just feels like you're trying to legitimize the referenda by legitimizing it. And then just going back to the whole quorum, like, what if the initial quorum is 10% and we get 7% turnout, then what's the point of then doing it again with a 5% turnout, because we already have the voice of for example 7%. I just feel like there's quite a lot of sense that by having this clause we would be wasting quite a lot of students' time and resources that could be better spent elsewhere, because AUSA does have very limited resources.
Okay, thanks, Cecilia. Any more speeches for this motion? No more speeches for the motion. Any more questions? Nope. Okay, I think we can move to a vote then. We're voting on the referenda motion, not the graduation motion, and the link will be posted in the chat.
If possible, I would like an opportunity to sum up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just to sum up then, I would just like to say that I won't respond to what was just said by the student president, but I will say that this is just an advisory vote. So once this passes, it will be taken to the trustees for them to decide. So it's more just whether you think this would be a good idea overall. And the actual feasibility of it will be something that will be worked out and decided ultimately by the trustees themselves. Okay, so I just remind everybody of that. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks. That link to vote is in the chat. Just to explain, I wasn't being stupid. What I'd accidentally done is ran out of paper when I printed the April agenda and coincidentally grabbed the scrap paper, which happened to be the March agenda, and printed the March agenda on the back of the April agenda. And thus we have a double agenda situation. And that's what confused me. So I've not been going off. I am in control. I don't think certain members, leave that. Yeah. Oh, who's that? Harnham. Harnham? Yeah. Harnham.
Hey, Matthew, you're lucky that this shambles is not being put on YouTube, eh?
Shambles? Shambles? I don't think any of the meetings I've shared this year are a shambles. You've got to remember, these meetings are just me speaking to myself alone in a room, But I would agree it's a bit of a shambles. The voting link is in the chat. We're voting on the referenda motion. Not the graduation motion. It's not me at all. Not me at all, Sean. It's mainly Ellie and Carolina and David and Scott as well. Not me. I just speak and read out numbers like this. The results of the motion on the referendum. That's 24, 12 against, and 11 abstentions. Again, 24, 13 against, and 11 abstentions. So, yeah, we're just checking the rules to make sure whether that passed or not, because obviously there were quite a lot of abstentions there. So I just want confirmation before I say something, and it's binding. Still haven't got a hammer. Little gavel. Just a reminder there, Ellie.
I'll send you one for the last meeting.
It passed. Thank you. Exactly. It passes as abstentions don't count. Yes. That's what I thought too. Just waiting for confirmation. Because we're all double checking to make sure that this doesn't become a shambles. Abstentions don't count, so yes, that motion passes the referendum motion. I keep going to say graduation. Right. That means we then move on to bylaw amendments and the bylaw 3 amendment. Just a reminder. This is true, Harnham. There is time. There is time. The bylaw amendments. Along with AUSA's constitution, bylaws are the fundamental rules and regulations by which AUSA operates. We have, I think, 4 proposals to change bylaws today. These proposals require a 75% majority to pass. So 75% of votes, excluding abstentions, must be in favour for these to pass. If they do pass, they need joint sign-off from AUSA's trustee board before they are implemented. That means bylaw 3 amendment, so we'll go to the proposer of the bylaw 3 amendment, which I believe is Daniel again.
Hello. I would like to ask that this motion be deferred until after the discussion and vote on the bylaw 6 change, please.
So you would need a procedural motion to
Yeah.
amend the. Okay.
A procedural motion, yeah.
A procedural motion. Okay.
I'll need a seconder for that one.
Yeah, exactly. We got a seconder for Daniel's procedural motion. Robbie, I'll just take that as your seconding. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. I think that means we just go to the vote for the procedural motion, which Ellie already had ready. Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. So Ellie has popped the vote for the procedural motion in the chat. She's giving her time to vote on it. Make one. And you can vote on procedural motion to move Bylaw 3 to after Bylaw 6. That's right. Isn't it, Daniel?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So moving it right to the end before any other council business. So Bylaw 3 to after Bylaw 6. I don't know the... Okay, hold on. Yeah, right, hold on. Everyone's commenting the same thing, so obviously there is an issue for everyone. We don't need everyone to say in the chat. I mean, you're all going to keep doing it anyway. But that's the correct link now, Ellie has posted in the chat. Thank you for letting us know. So you can vote there to move, to vote in favour of Daniel's procedural motion to move the Bylaw 3 amendment to after Bylaw 6 on the agenda. Thank you very much, Ellie, as always. Now I've lost April's agenda. I was holding the agenda, Ellie. Where is the Bylaw 6 amendment in the document? I only see Bylaws 3 and 7 in there, of course. 2 seconds, let me just check. Page 30, yeah. Yeah, it was that. Varna's right, it was in the second email that was sent in the second lot of papers. Have we got the... I'll give you a couple. Okay, no. So the procedural motion 4, 26, 2 against and 10 abstentions. So that passes. So we move Bylaw 3 to after Bylaw 6 on the April agenda. Okay, so then we move on to the Bylaw 7 amendment. Does the proposer for that wish to introduce their amendment?
Hello.
Brill. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, yeah. So this Bylaw 7 amendment is mostly just cleaning up. It's not really. There's not really a lot changing in it. It standardizes the layout because we all like neat layout in our bylaws. It changes some spelling mistakes. It removes mention of old practices that we don't do anymore, such as like forming subcommittees for decisions and stuff like that. We don't do that anymore. We just vote on the whole committee on basically every decision, to include everybody, of course. That's basically it. It makes mention of the new Societies Union Handbook, which is currently being worked on, where we're going to include any new Societies Union policy. And that's basically it. It's just really a clean-up and getting rid of the old and in with the new type thing. Cool. Cheers. You are still muted, Matthew. Sorry.
Soon as this virus is over, bloody hell. Okay, sorry. Anyone wish to ask any questions or speak against this motion? Cecilia, is this a question, yeah?
I think so. So I'm aware that Daniel just tried to sum up the motion changes, but the fact that it's not clear in the papers what's actually being changed, I really do not feel confident voting on this. And I would like to ask if we can do a procedural motion to move this towards the next council so that it can be resubmitted with clear explanations and maybe even highlights, like with the other motion that Daniel submitted, to exactly show what changes have been made.
So you're proposing a procedural motion to move this amendment to the next student council, just to be clear?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone want to second that procedural motion? We'll have to give Ellie a second. Elisa, thank you. Brilliant, thanks. Okay, so we'll just give Ellie a couple of seconds to make up the voting form for Cecilia's procedural motion, which moves. There we are. Oh, she was quick. Well done, Ellie. Thank you. Not that I'm surprised that you were quick. You're on it all the time. Okay, so moving Bylaw 7 to May. That's this procedural motion. You can vote there. The link is in the chat. Okay, so that procedural motion with 25 votes for, 10 against, and 6 abstentions. That passes. We'll go to Daniel. Get his hand up.
I don't mean to get technical, but that currently requires a 75% majority to pass, and also it requires a 2/3 majority to pass under any circumstance.
The procedural motion.
That's correct, yeah.
Let's just double check that. Hold on. The procedural motion thing up for this. Where is it? Just looking through the bylaw now. I'm not sure. I think it just needs a simple majority to pass. I'm sure Scott and Ellie are looking at the same as well. I'll wait for them as well. Not to be a pain, but obviously we've got to follow the rules. Whoever is right here. Hold up. The bylaws are a bit unclear on this one. Just waiting on guidance. I think it's just a simple majority, but I am just getting it checked. Typing is occurring. So, although I suppose 6.8.4a could also apply here as well, if Scott or Ellie are listening. Sorry, everyone.
If I may comment,
Yeah, of course.
it would be my interpretation that this